All right, y'all. Welcome to another episode of Shout Out to You Show. We're gonna talk about some things today. So usually we talk about random things, and today I actually thought we should revisit Good Kid, Mad City by Kendrick Lamar because of all that beef that was going on and everything going out. And I think like for some reason I had to take a step back and actually go through that first album because I don't think I really appreciated it as I should have. Today with me, I got my guy Weez, Trey. I got my boy Daniel at the bottom. Y'all say what's up.
Hey, what's going on?
Still good people. How y'all?
So again, y'all can catch this episode on everywhere you hear your podcast. But again, we don't go through it. But before we go through it, before we talk about it, we all know where this is stemming from. And we all know why we're here. Who do you guys have winning the battle?
Dot off the triple, man. Ain't no. I took it.
Dang, who you got?
I mean, anyone who would say otherwise is just fooling themselves. It's obviously Kendrick. Now, how much ahead he is, I think that's debatable, but I mean, he's the clear winner. There's no doubt about that.
I'm gonna tell y'all who's ahead. All right, I'm gonna tell y'all who's ahead right now. Just so y'all know.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Bro, this song's been on repeat.
I'm telling you, it's going crazy. It's going crazy.
Come on now.
Yeah, especially being from California, man. That was infectious. It's like we hadn't heard a song like that in a long time, at least stylistically for me.
Yeah, in a minute.
As soon as that thing dropped, I was low-key like, oh, this over.
Yeah, especially the first day or two. It was
the way that together in the city, like seeing all of the videos is going out. A lot of these people personally and seeing this song is bringing everything. It's not debatable. Like you can go back and listen to that didn't drop. Even this one right here, this sealed the deal for me.
Yeah, I needed this song badly because I wanted something that was just entertaining regardless of the circumstances or what they were saying.
On me.
100%. Because, I mean, come on. Like, what are we doing? Beat your ass and hide the body of God watching.
And you know what's nice is you can play this and not worry about it because I heard Kendrick isn't doing no
100%.
Copyright strikes on anybody.
100%.
Yeah. For the people. This song was for the people. The people needed this song. Like it's about to go crazy. It ain't deep in the summertime yet. It's about to go crazy.
Oh yeah, all the cookouts, all the HBCUs, everything. I'm playing this to work. That's
yeah. Bro, anytime I play anything on my YouTube music, this song will just be in the playlist automatically, you know? You just hit a random song and it'll just be cut in there. That's how much it's stuck on my stuff right now.
But when it hits when like it's surpassing, here's the crazy part about it. And everybody's gonna talk about it wasn't that good and blah blah blah. It's beating Drake's records in streaming, it's beating other records in streaming, it's hitting #1 in places. Like, it's undeniable. As much as you want to still face in these videos and act like this wasn't a good song, like, you can't deny this thing is doing numbers. Like, dudes is dancing to you being a pedophile. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, there's a couple lines where I'm like, oh, man, it's kind of tough that this is in here to listen to out in public. You got the windows down, but at the same time, it goes. It hits hard enough that it overpasses that.
He's a fan. That one got
Yeah, he ruined the word fan. Yeah, he ruined OVO with OVO. I mean, there's a lot of good digs in there. It was my favorite track as far as like doing something that not only is fun but also was like he was hitting constantly throughout the song, which I like a lot. And he was saying stuff that he could have only have written that in the gap between the last song and that song. And for me, that was super important because when what was the other one? Was it Meet the Grams? when that dropped, it was like you had that ready to go, you know. But then the next day you dropped, was it Not Like Us, and it is obvious you just wrote that, or at least you finished the song within that time frame, which to me, you know, was like added to the hype of it, you know.
Honestly, and that's what you were telling me at work when you were like, they discredit him because they said it takes forever for him to make records, and then you make this one like a quick response, and then it goes super viral, big, and it's like, hey, yo, you can't deny this.
That's what I was about to say, because it's crazy how when the beat first started, and this is something that we did talk about. The beat first started, it was like, Kendrick, you don't write fast enough, you don't do music enough. You J. Cole saying you write one years, Drake drop, all of this stuff, and then this man just starts dropping. Like, all right, yeah, now it's oversaturated, but this is what y'all wanted. This is what y'all asked from this man. So you can't get mad when this man really start coming and showing y'all what's up. Like, even the way that he dropped directly in response. Even when Drake dropped The Heart Part 6, he even said it in the song, all right, Kenny, we know you about to drop right after this. Like, that man is intimidating. He's intimidating.
Nah, say it right.
Please.
Say it right. He said, I mean, I know you about to I know you about to drop something after this.
You about to drop. You know, just come with it. You know, just
I'm not even gonna respond.
Like, you know, I haven't slept all weekend. He's yawning. He's falling asleep on the mic.
Not need my apology, because you know, don't need it. That's all. Like,
that man sounded defeated. Even
that was
defeated.
That, you know, we did this too. Yeah, you fell for that. Ha ha ha. Yeah, you know, we're coming back, dropping again, on vacation. That's twice already.
Yeah.
They're leaving and going on vacation twice already. Come on now.
I'll say this though. I'll say this because I know we're not here to talk about this. It's just brief, like, why we're here. But I'm gonna say this because I just gotta say this. When people keep talking about, but he manipulated him, bro. He fed him information. He fell for it. Like, that's the L. I'm gonna tell you guys this because I'm sick of hearing it. If I set a trap for you, I set a trap for you to fall for it. I'm not waiting songs down the line to expose that I got a trap for you. That's like, and I told you, that's like me setting a trap to catch my girl cheating. And then she cheats. And then I stay in a relationship with her for the next 2 years to see how it pans out, just to be like, you know, a few years ago, you know, I knew this was going to be this way. I knew we was going to break up. That's why I caught you cheating 2 years ago. Caught you. Yeah. It's stupid. Like, if you want to win this battle, you instantly drop that I caught you. Show me the receipts. Show me the text messages or something that got your man sending something over. But you can't do that now because we know how Photoshop works. We know how the internet works. People fake text all the time. I mean, there's AIs speaking for people, so you don't even know if like somebody's actually saying something like derogatory or anything like that no more, because it could be just an AI with their voice. So it's like, you can't even show me the text messages now because I won't believe it. You got to do that like right on rip so I could be like, oh snap, you actually got him. But now you want to talk about you brought all these internet theories into your final one, then you sounded deflated. I'm not even gonna respond no more. I ain't want to hear it.
You could have kept that.
Yeah. It ain't looking good.
I mean, he had this. I mean, the only positive thing, because I always like to at least acknowledge something that might be positive, is that he did release it very quickly, but it was the wrong response. And it was also like some of the other songs where I was like, this isn't fun to listen to. You know, this is like a song you're just listening to so you can hear the reply. But I probably heard it once or twice and was never really feeling like going back to it, especially with some of the stuff being a little bit, you know, uncomfortable is all I can say. I know we got to censor ourselves to some degree.
100%. It's just, I don't know, because we can go all through that beef, and I have a bunch of holes, like the whole like slaves line and stuff like that. Like, what were you talking about? Like,
wrong.
You talking about back on Family Matters?
What track?
Matters. This was you talking about when he was rapping like you trying to get the slaves free.
Yeah.
It was in the beginning. Yeah.
So like that was trash.
Yeah, he just did a lot of stuff wrong. I told Mike too, like even having your mom, and I seen Ebro had the same sentiment towards this. Even having your mom, with all due respect, But having your mom, who's not of African American descent, coming in saying, "I think you should say the word," and then you just coming straight in with the word, like that was blatant disrespect. And I feel like that proves my point and Kendrick's point when I be telling other people when he said it's not just me, I'm with the culture feeling. That's what he's talking about. He just continues to prove himself as the cornball. Drake really is the Meek Mill in this beef, and that's the crazy part. He's the Meek Mill in this. He get up. Come on, Drake. Get up. Meek Mill in this beef, and he should be doing way better than this from the production choices that he's making, which is they're cool. But from Kendrick's perspective, if his production has never really been okay, this is where I'm laying my shield at with my music, which is my production. Kendrick has never been that type of person, and he beat you in production. That's just crazy to me.
Yep. I think they also mentioned something, especially when he talked about in like Not Like Us, when he talked about how he went to Atlanta to pretty much get his sound, to get his rep, do his thing, and that line with the slaves, and I think this segues us into what the main topic is. And when he said something about, it makes me uncomfortable when you say the N-word, and then he jumps in the track and says it. I think that's the disconnect that Drake has with the culture. I don't think, because like honestly, we seen the videos of whatever skits he was doing when he was younger. Man was on Degrassi, when we hear it, and I told you, like when I hear his music, like no offense, and I'm not trying to like hate on him. I'm gonna be that person, I got a bunch of black friends. I'm gonna be that person who says I have Drake songs on my playlist, so don't get me wrong. But like when I hear him rap, I hear black scent. When I hear him sing, I feel like, okay, that's you. But when I hear him rap, I hear a black scent. I don't feel like you can tell me a story that you've honestly been through or you've honestly understood. It doesn't feel authentic to me. Like when we go into Kendrick's album, this first album, when I hear him talk about these stories and how they connect and all this stuff, it's authentic to me. Like I know you probably seen this. You've understood that. When Drake made these moves, like saying about you rap like you're freeing the slaves or just mention that, shows the disconnect with the culture. Like you're like, I don't want to call him a culture vulture, but damn near, like my man, like you don't jump into topics about the culture. You don't do none of that stuff about the culture. Like you, and not saying that he has to, but it's like, yo, like, okay, so let's talk about Good Kid, Mad City, and let's talk about Shireen, aka Master Splinter's daughter. Right? When you listen to that song, or you listen to that first one, like you kind of get the setup of what we're going through for this album and the connection of everything. Like pretty much he's hyped to go see this girl, he's ready, we all been there, hey, about to pull up, blah blah blah. And then you see like the setup of him like freezing in that moment, and like these dudes like pull up on him, like the setup, and it's like if I'm not gonna mention Drake anymore, but in this part of the song, like the setup to everything is like from that to backseat free, like to the way to like, no, I'm sorry, that to Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe, to all this stuff. Like what, from the beginning of this album, what did you guys feel when you first heard it?
First album, I was still in high school and I was living in LA at the time. And it was crazy because it made me go through a lot of the things that I went through, even coming up and growing up. If you from LA, everybody has had a show. Everybody got that one girl that you're not supposed to be messing with, but you either y'all being in school, you know her through mutual friends, but her family is from the, so you ain't supposed to be. So just hearing the getting to that album, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is gonna be for the city already. Because I wasn't the biggest Kendrick fan. I love 7 8 things like that, but I was an absolute.
Okay.
hearing this album really like just turned the way because I'm like, man, this dude is speaking not just to us, but he's speaking with us. And if this resonate with us, it's gonna resonate with everybody else that's not on from LA, but it's interesting in the culture that comes with LA because he spoke for the culture with that album, and you can hear it from the beginning to where he's taking you throughout the whole day to the end of the album. It's all LA, it's all California, it's all West Coast, and it's a different type of vibe for real.
Yeah, for me, the main thing is, and I don't want to be brutally honest about, I had some major separation from the last time I listened to this album from front to back. So I just re-listened to it to prepare for this. And it's crazy how much I forgot how like not common it is that you even have a rapper in particular doing a concept for a whole album. And I had forgotten about that. Because, you know, when you go back and just hear the songs, you know, out of context with just like, you know, YouTube Music or whatever music service you listen to, it just pops up and you're just like, oh yeah, this is like, you know, the fun song or whatever. But then when you hear it all in order and you realize how much planning went into all this, that's the thing that really took me back today when I was listening to it again. And I was like, damn, I forgot how much layers there is in sequencing. You know, you can't just accidentally make this album, you know.
100%. When I first heard it, I believe I was like 21, 22, and I was like, I heard some Kendrick stuff on the radio, and so when I got the album, I pretty much downloaded all the stuff that was on the radio because I was like, okay, this is the popular stuff. And then I downloaded the album like way back when, and I had one quick listen through, and honestly, like youthful ears, I went through it. Okay, this one sounds great. I don't know what's going on here. This one sounds great. I don't know what's going on here. Don't know what's going on here. Like I didn't really give it like the full listen to understand what the concept was. Mentally, I wasn't hearing stuff like that back then. But like honestly, like it's funny too, because I would complain. Nowadays, maybe I'm an old head now, I guess I got the gray hairs. I would complain nowadays about how no album has, like you said, has a concept that throughout the first part to the end, it just maps together, makes sense. Even the little voicemails in there, how they all connect from the part to the next song. Like from, I guess I'll just go through. I guess we don't got to go track to track, but like from Mad City, and how he goes, just lay back and drink that, and then you get swimming pools.
Yeah.
Like, who's doing that? Like, people ain't doing that. Like, I know. I try to give, what's his name? What's my guy's name? Who's in prison right now? My God, who shot? I'm sorry, I don't mean to say it as if it's like casual. What's his name? The dude who had the situation with Meg Thee Stallion.
Tory Lanez.
Okay, Tory Lanez. He had his first album. Like he had a bunch of skits on there that was supposed to connect him from struggling to him making it. And like that concept is great, but his skits were like way too damn long. Like my man had like skit after skit after skit after skit after skit.
I remember
that thing. Like I was like, my guy, like what are we doing? Like what are we doing? But this all was like, it was brief, but it connected so much to where you hear the story about, you know, Kendrick going through that situation of pretty much getting set up to where his homies is like, oh, we just gonna ride on them real quick, shoot some warning shots up, you know, let them know to dude's brother getting killed, and then him struggling with that and pretty much telling Kendrick. And what song was that? Was it Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst? I think it
from that album.
I think it might have been that one where he's like, let me borrow, like he pretty much let me borrow a piece of mind. Like he's like pretty much telling him like, if you don't see me after this, like, you know, if I don't hear your album, like tell the story. Like it's just from that point to that happening to you and your boys, like riding around, like pulling licks in LA, driving around the city, to them like, all right, let's go. That, like, you know, freestyling in the car. Cause I mean, I'm not the best rapper in the world. Definitely not. You know, I do have some unreleased music that I'm definitely not releasing ever, but you know, we all sat in the car at one point. Beat got turned on and everybody started freestyling in the car. So like just hearing that and just the concept of that happening, and then the part where the grandmother is like praying for them and like saying like, hey, like you guys have this choice, and even listening to it and understanding that Kendrick chose a different path and the friend chose another path, and the friend, you know, passing away because he went to go retaliate. You know, it just shows like the full concept of like good kid, mad city. Like you can the city, like you can be a great kid, you can be a good kid, but the city, like depending on your choices, the city can definitely turn you into a different route. So like that concept is fucking dope. Like to everybody who can relate to that concept is absolutely insane. And then playing it out for us this in full mode. Like I was like, when I had the mindset to actually listen to it correctly, and not like BS it, and actually like go through each song and not just be like, oh, I don't kill my vibe, you know, not actually go through it. Yeah. I'm gonna say, hey, yo, like this is crazy.
Yeah. Just being able to listen to this song, it's not a lot of albums that you can just cut all the lights off, lay back, and you can literally picture what this man is going to do. The story that he displayed in the music, in the words, not only is it relatable, but it's understandable. And even if you've never been from that, even if you've never been cut from that, or you've never experienced that, you can literally just envision what he had to go through to that point for him to even be able to release this album. This album, to me personally, really showed not just the effort it takes to make a hit, make a classic, make something for everybody, but it showed me the mental toughness that's needed. Because a lot of this stuff, if you really take the time to listen back to these songs, like you can tell this man is dealing with trauma. Yeah. And I feel like that's the biggest thing, because a lot of this stuff that he's saying in these music is traumatizing. So be able to not only have the mental toughness to think back to these experiences and these moments that you had, but articulate it to the point to where it's understandable for somebody who's never been in that situation to be able to process, to the point to where it's digestible, you can listen to it and still vibe out without even realizing the things that he's really saying that could be mentally draining on somebody. Like it really just showed me mentally how much effort and how much work it takes in to put together a masterpiece. In my opinion, this album was a masterpiece because you can listen to it in any type of scenery. You can listen to it in any type of situation, and it's going to give you that same feeling that it gave you the first time that you heard it. It's going to put you right back in that same mode to where it's like, yeah, I remember where I was. Yeah, I remember how I felt. And that's just to me personally, because I'm really from that city. So seeing what it did and how it took effect within that city, you couldn't go nowhere without hearing this album. For real.
Yeah, and one thing that I noticed when I was listening to it is it feels like everything, I mean, I know that he has, obviously he's the one doing all the rapping and stuff, but as far as like the voices of throughout the tracks, it's not him so much as other people talking. I feel like it's more like he's just you know, in the midst of it, and it's not really like actively participating, you know? There's something about that I felt I was noticing as I was listening to it. I was like, man, I feel like aside from when he raps, he's really not talking much in a lot of these scenes. It's other people. It's like he's just taking it all in. Going back to, I guess, the main point of it being a good kid in the Mad City. Like he's not really trying to get involved. He's just there, I suppose, is one way to interpret it. But I just was noticing that as I was listening to it.
Yeah, because it's the art of peer pressure, right? When he keeps talking about with the homies, right?
Yeah, with the homies.
And they lace the weed, and like he's feeling it and stuff. You can even hear it like in the tone changes in his voice, like when he's rapping, he does like the different voices and stuff like that. Like I don't think people really give that part like credit. Like I know that he does that weird thing with his voice, but like he does it for a reason. So like he can get like the concept of what he's trying to do. Like even when he like, there's a part where like he's rapping normal, but like in the background, like it's like drawn out. Like you know how like the Houston music where it's like with the home, and it's like all like super slow and stuff like that. And you can tell like in that part, like that Lay's weed is hidden. Like he's like completely just like going out of it. And it's like that you when you look at his body of work, because I know a lot of people like kind of like shit on him for not releasing music so often. You know, I think academics pretty much said like he can't be the one on top because he doesn't give me music so much. And it's like then we got to talk about like quantity over quality.
Yeah.
Because then people started using that against him in the beef, like, oh, you just releasing a bunch of songs, but they don't have the quality like Drake. And it's like, okay, so that's the issue for the beef, but when it comes to his whole library discography, that's a problem for that. Like he has to release music every time for you to get it, and like all his albums like have a meaning, like To Pimp a Butterfly, Damn, Big Steppers, like all that. There's a concept.
Yeah.
In each album, like I know people like prefer Damn because he's more like going at folks, but like you missing the concept of the album. Like it's not just about him just going at people and like, you know, sit down, you know, it's more things going on there. So what is your guys' favorite track on the album? Unless you have multiples.
I mean, I can probably go quicker just by saying that I'm like probably not the best example of someone who's always like in the mood or has the time to go front to back on a lot of albums. So of course I'm gonna have more obvious picks, probably like Swimming Pools or Fish Don't Kill My Vibe, just stuff like that. Really, like I said, if you can just throw it on whenever and it's just fun to listen to and it sounds good in the car, like that's obviously going to take precedence over everything else, just for selfish reasons. You know, you have your own I guess, like you just said, people saying that he didn't drop often enough. Well, that's a personal metric. You know, how much music do you want from someone? You know, so for me, I do need something that kind of slaps a little in the car. So you know, that'd probably be my answer.
Me
you said, before you said something that slaps in the car.
Yeah, like Swimming Pool. Oh,
like this right?
Gotta turn your screen back on. Gotta hit play.
There we go.
Oh yeah.
See,
I'm done.
Just go the other one. I thought you was gonna play the other one. That's why I started laughing, because I already knew what was coming up.
Which one you thought he was gonna put on?
That BBL.
Right now.
Oh, BBL Drizzy. I forgot.
Yeah, that's why I started laughing.
Hey, BBL Drizzy is a hit.
That's a hit.
It does sound pretty good. I didn't really hear. I listened to like a compilation of just like a few random rappers on it, and no one was really like riding the beat the way I was hoping for it to be like entertaining. It's just like they wrote a verse and they just did it on that track. But if you guys heard a good one, let me know.
Trying to get a free, but yeah, I would say my favorite song from that album was "Sing About Me and Dying of Thirst," because I've lost too many people personally. So that song, it was so easy for me to put myself in them shoes, because the first time I heard about that, and I really just took the time to listen to it, because the first time I went through the album, I would say I went through it like you, Mike, just going through, picking songs and everything like that. And then I went back and listened to it. And when I went back and listened to it, you know, I always try to digest lyrics. I always try to listen to it a couple times to see if there's something. And just going through that whole album, listening, rapping over stuff or nothing like that. Heard that song. That song made me cry, like for real. I said when I first heard that song, like actually listened to it. And it was like, man, that really made me a fan. Because thinking of the people that I was in them type of situations with, thinking of the people that I knew was in them type of situations and didn't even be in them type of situations. But when you're a product in your environment, sometimes you don't have that choice. Sometimes being in the streets really is the only support you get. And having that support system, it ain't always righteous. So I know a lot of good people that done lost their life just to the product of what comes out. And just living in that, like LA is literally a people who got parents but don't know their parents, who strung out, gone, whatever the case. And it puts them in that position have to do for survival. It's survival. And hearing sing about me and Don saying, you know, I want you to make it, whatever you do, just don't pretty much come in my face. That song. And it was that it hit me. Still go back and listen to it over and over again. Like that song really do remind me of one of my best friends. And coming up, I already knew this dude was play sports everywhere. When he left and the situation that he left it just hit me different. So I don't even have no other songs. I can listen to that whole album back, no problem. Thing about me and Don in particular, that's the one that touched me for real.
I can feel that. I can definitely feel that. I think for me, my favorite song is Mad City. I think that's my favorite song. I think because honestly for me, because like when I talk to people, like I'm definitely one of those dudes where they're like, oh Mike, who was you cool with in high school? Like legit everybody. Like I was legit rocking with everybody. That's how it was. Like the hood people, the sports people, like everybody. Like I was like, yo, what's up? Like I can blend into groups. And it was always one of those things where like up in the Bay, like you can definitely get caught up in a bunch of stuff. You can definitely, you know, just be friends with the wrong folks and just do whatever. Like there was a guy who I went to school with who was on the basketball team who had to jump off the basketball team because he ended up getting shot, right? And this is a dude I knew from, we weren't like the closest up in like middle school and stuff like that, but we just knew each other. Ended up at this random high school that just started off and was like, oh, yo, familiar face, like what's up? And so just knowing him and then knowing how he was so talented playing ball and knowing that he got shot and kind of couldn't play anymore, you know, just in like hanging out with the wrong crowd and like, and I get every time, like if I get with a group of people, there's like, oh, Mike, and you get those people like, Mike, I'm blacker than you. Then they'll say some stuff like that because I don't talk in a certain way or do stuff like that, which is corny as hell. But they'll say some shit like that, and I'm just like, bruh, you don't know like what I've been through with the people who I like talk with or whoever I'm cool with, anything like that. Because there's a lot of situations where, you know, with some good folks, and then somebody pulls up, hey Mike, we about to hit the mall, and I got to be like, nah, I'm gonna just go home, y'all. Like this, like different decisions and seeing what happened to them, you know, in the future. So it's like knowing that like the city can turn you. Like there's folks that we know that were like good dudes, like that had nothing to do with anything. Like they just with the wrong folks at the wrong time and end up getting caught up. I remember the story when I was in, I think it was in high school. No. It was in elementary school. No, I'm lying. It's middle school. It's in middle school. Okay, I'm Drake. I'm lying. Let me get out of here. No, it was in middle school. I had this teacher. It was funny. It was a white teacher. It was hilarious. He'd always preach to the kids, like especially like the black kids, like, hey, like as a white man, I'm telling you, they out to get you. And like, I'm not even supposed to be telling you like this. Like, I'm not even supposed to be telling y'all in this school setting that the system is out to get you. Like, don't do it. Like, don't hang out with these people. Like, don't do it. Like, I'm trying to tell you, like, they're trying to set you guys up. And he would do it in his concept, which I would get, which it's the thing I took from him that I use today. Like, I'd tell, like, Trey knows, I'll tell my team at work, hey, like, they don't want me to tell y'all this, but I'm gonna tell y'all this because I want you to know that's not act shocked when it happens. Like, that's be prepared for it. So he would show us different stories and different things. And there's a story he told me one time about a kid who he had a car. He went to work. You know, Calvin got a job. He went to work, got a car, and his homies said, hey, pick us up. And so he picked them up. And as they were driving, and I don't know if this was in LA or not, but when they were driving, they just seen some folks that, you know, they don't typically mess with. And so they just pulled out the gun and started shooting at the people, right, and killed them because it was his car.
An accessory.
Yep. And he's like, dude had nothing to do with it, and like it didn't matter what they said, he had nothing to do with it. Even his friends was like, he had nothing to do with it. He was just driving a car. We blah blah blah. They still locked him up, and so it was kind of like, damn, like in that situation, like just looking at it. I think he says in the song too. I'm trying to remember the lyrics. Like, what am I supposed to do if the topic is red or blue? Or you guys know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Topic. Yeah.
We're like, you don't know. Like, they don't know if you bang. They just know you was cool with somebody. Oh, I seen them talking to him. So like, because you was talking to him, you affiliated.
Exactly.
Or cops even saying, oh, I seen that, you affiliated. Mm-hmm. So it's like, that's the crazy part of everything. But I don't know, this album is pretty masterful. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
I think just exactly what you everything word for word. That's why your song slaps. Because I know my first time with the homies, and if I was just chilling by myself, it was that I would have thought about on my own. But just being around people, they're not straight, just verbally peer. Yeah, come on and do it. The art of influence is real too. Art of you are what you around. That's a fact. So you can either like, all right, that's the reason for me not to do it, or you can look at it as a reason for me to do it. And I feel like that's where a lot of people up when they growing up and stuff.
Yeah, one thing I didn't want to forget to say, you mentioned earlier about the skits and how like they're not that long. And that to me helps a lot with the pacing of the album a lot. Like it doesn't ever feel like the skits are slowing it down, because even if you get to start feeling like it's running on, like it's already pretty much wrapped up at that point. And sometimes, you know, on like you mentioned, I think you said Tory Lane's album had a bunch of skits on it that were just running too long. You know, stuff like that can almost ruin like a classic album. There's some albums that have tried to have skits throughout, even by some of my favorites of all time, where I'm like, man, I wish this was a little quicker. Like I'm not always in the mood to listen to the whole $20 Sack Pyramid, you know, on the Chronic. It's just like you got to be in the mood for something like that. So it's just, I don't know. I just appreciate that it's not just about having an idea. I'm gonna write these skits in there as part of telling the story. It's also about knowing like when enough is enough, and just like short and sweet, hit it and keep it pushing, because that's what helps, like especially a concept album, flow.
Yeah. So. Have you guys ever heard
Tetsuo? They're not even needed.
Yeah, honestly, they don't need it.
Yeah.
But have you guys heard Tetsuo and Youth by Lupe Fiasco?
No, not me personally.
Yeah, that's my joint. Okay, so within it, he doesn't really have skits, but he has his pacing, so he has different songs. It's like an instrumental. So it's the seasons. So he has summer, winter, fall, spring, and in there, like he'll have a few songs. He has a few songs, and then out of nowhere, it's just the instrumental, and it like for some reason it just flows. Like, cause each song within that group matches like the feeling of that season. And like the album's dope, and like just the pacing of it and just the way it goes, it's kind of like when is it the Black of the Berry? It is the Black of the Berry, where he's like the Why Did I Weep when Trayvon Marvin was killing the street, when Game Baby make a killing blacker than me, hypocrite. And then you had that little part in the end where it's just like thinking, like the sound is kind of like an elevator music, and it makes you think. Like, damn, like what do people think? Like you're mad at this situation, but you just did this, and it gives you that time to kind of think about like what's going on. Like whenever you guys hear that song, like listen to that last part, because every time, and I ain't never killed nobody, but every time I hear that song, like it puts me in that state of mind. I'm just like, yo, like people really do get upset, and like you be legit. Like the reason of cause, like hypocrites. Like why are we doing that? Like why are we mad when this happens, but we'll straight up do this like for shoes? Like some people kill dudes for shoes. Like yo, like for shoes.
And then if something happens, people that hop on the ad or hop on the news and be like, why they do this to him? He didn't do nothing to nobody. Or that same person that your homie or your friend, your brother, his sister, they wasn't doing nothing to nobody neither. So it be mad at one direction when it's like every action got a reaction.
100%. That reminds me of the when Vine was popping. There's a video when they was like, "Hey, Fremont, this," and they're like, "Oh my god, like what did you do?" Oh, he just murdered 4 people, this and that, and like
everything he did, but he ended up though.
But now he's saying it.
What do you mean? That's crazy.
Actually, what are you guys listening to now?
Well, Daniel, I recommended this album tonight. I'm gonna recommend it to you. I don't know if you know who Westside Boogie is, but he got an album. If you like the flow and just the vibe the kid M.A.A.D gave Kendrick, I feel like was speaking Preacher's perspective of what he's seen. I feel like everything's for sale. That album is speaking from the perspective mentally different and going through it. And Westside Boogie, favorite artist. So feel free to go down the rabbit hole. I would recommend a song that he didn't put out every album. Like he's one of the best coming out of the city. As far as my ignorance slaps, I like Zayo song. Crazy. I'm waiting for something to get out and start dropping some more songs. As far as my underground, J-Bo right now, crazy out of the Bay. Man, I got too many playlists right now. I'm still so I ain't even gonna.
Well, like I said earlier, man, I got only so much time and attention span, so I'm letting all the diss tracks handle the rotation for me. You put on one of them and just see what comes after. And so I've been accidentally re-listening to a lot of Kendrick, obviously some Drake. I'm trying to think of what else that came out recently that's not them that I really liked. But yeah, mostly just stuff affiliated with that. So there's a lot of Kendrick songs I had forgotten that I hadn't heard in a long time. So now that I've rerun through Good Kid, M.A.A.D City, I'm definitely going to go back probably through the whole discography, to be honest. But because again, when albums first come out, I'll do front to back. But sometimes, it's just not the right time and place. Like you said, maybe you were too young for it or whatever. And, you got to circle back. So I'm excited to do that, especially with Kendrick. After going through this album, I was like, damn, I forgot how much, like I said earlier, about it being a concept album and having like a cohesive structure. That's something that I do miss about some of my favorite albums. But I do appreciate when they're aware of either making the skits short or don't have the skits be like attached to the rest of the song you actually want to listen to. I don't want to have to fast forward or jump to this specific part. Like just clip it off. I think College Dropout. I think all the skits are chopped off or separate, or maybe Late Registration. One of those 2 albums, I was like, good thing he chopped this off because I'm not always in the mood to hear skits. I want to just jump back to the music. As an example,
I can't keep working like this. This grave ship is like a slave ship. I'm gonna be that person that says I miss the old Kanye, but we know what we're listening to, y'all.
Yeah. Oh man, you had it queued up.
Hey, tell me Kanye wouldn't go crazy on this beat though.
He would.
I can hear Kanye on this.
Yeah, that actually is a little bit more up his alley style wise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It ain't no mystery.
That's BBL in history.
Got the best BBL in history.
I just realized I said bigger than a Snicker. That's crazy.
You know what too? I was curious about where this was from, and you guys probably already know. He just sampled like some YouTuber or something that had already made a skit.
Yeah.
Those are crazy.
Yeah, he got a gang of old slaps.
Hey, isn't it funny? I'm sorry, I'm trying not to laugh because I think it's hilarious. Isn't it funny how Kanye jumped into the dish and everybody's like, yeah, about that.
Yeah, no one cared at all. Well, I mean, he only kind of said like two things. Anyways, most of that song was not even about anything.
Yeah,
he just said, "Can't remember a Drake line," and J. Cole make the wet dry. And at the beginning, he said, "What did he say? I got you, Dot, K. Dot." I don't know. That's about it. That's all he said. There's like 3 lines of even being involved.
He popped up, gave an interview, and they got him right out of here. Yeah, no. Like any other day, not this one. Like, yeah, man, he got up out of here.
Kanye, like when you were like top dog, like Kanye was top dog. Like you heard Kanye all over the place. Kanye was like T-Pain. Like you couldn't turn on the radio without hearing Kanye. And now it's kind of like, all right, man. all right, Kanye.
Yeah.
All right.
And also 50 Cent, he was solidified. Like that Kanye run, legendary. It don't matter how much, like how you feel about him. It don't matter what you think about him. That Kanye run was legendary. Whether it was feature, it was production, whether it was album, everywhere. You could not hear or see Kanye on somebody or his own music.